The movie opens with Sarah, a girl who wants to attend a party at her friend's house. Her father, Don, refuses to let her go. When Sarah asks, "Mom said I could go to the party," her mother says, "It's okay dear, not today, maybe later." Angered by this, Sarah retreats to her room, where her older sister is also present. That night, Sarah sneaks out of the house to attend the party with her best friend, Christopher. When her mother later enters the room and finds her missing, she informs Don. Don becomes furious upon hearing the news. After spending the entire night with Christopher, Sarah returns home the next morning. Her father scolds and reprimands her. Her mother also arrives. Upset, Sarah runs into her room. Sarah's mother and sister follow her to the room. While the three are talking, Sarah declares, "I'll be 18 in 3 months. I have a childhood friend. I'm going to go to him. I'll live with him and enjoy my life." Don overhears all of this from outside. Subsequently, Don opens a secret room in the basement. The 3-month countdown until Sarah turns 18 begins. Days later, Sarah is seen talking to Christopher on the phone. Her sister is out, and her mother is at the market, leaving only Sarah and her father at home. Don asks Sarah, "I need to put a box in the basement, can you help me?" The two go to the basement with the box. Sarah is shocked to see Don open the secret room door. Don leads Sarah inside, engages her in conversation, and then locks the room and leaves. Sarah screams for help, but Don shows no pity. She tries to open the lock with a pin, but the door doesn't open. Instead, the lights flicker and go out, and the ventilation stops. Sarah checks the contents of the box she brought. It contains necessities for her stay there. When Sarah calls for help through the ventilation window, Don, realizing the sound is escaping, also seals the vent. Since it was a silent room, no sound escaped from it afterward. Sarah's mother was very worried about her. She searched extensively, but Don remained unfazed and very relaxed. The next day, Sarah tries to open the door again, and once more the lights turn on and off. Don then arrives. Sarah shoves him and tries to run away, but the basement door is also locked. Don brings Sarah back to the room and gets angry. He says, "If you listen to me, I'll let you out soon." When Sarah refuses, Don gets angry again and assaults her. Following this, Sarah's health deteriorates and she vomits. A week later, the police begin an investigation to find Sarah. Don tells the police, "Sarah wanted to live on her own away from us, so she went somewhere." The mother states, "She used to say that, but I don't think she meant to do it." The police officer advises, "Let's wait for Sarah, maybe she will contact us." On the other hand, Sarah was deeply saddened and disturbed by her father's actions. One day, Christopher comes home looking for Sarah. Don tells Christopher that Sarah ran away with a childhood friend. 21 days pass. It was Sarah's 18th birthday. Don comes to Sarah with a cake and candles. Don asks Sarah to blow out the candles, and she complies. She was obeying all of Don's instructions because he had promised, "If you listen to me, I'll release you soon." Don gives Sarah a costume to wear. Don says, "Tell me one wish, and I will grant it." Sarah wishes, "I want freedom, I want to get out of this place." Don says, "That will take a lot more time." Sarah then asks for a watch and a TV. At this point, Don assaults Sarah once more. The next day, Don brings Sarah the TV and watch. Later, Sarah makes a weapon using food cans. She asks Don to come near, but realizing Sarah's intention, Don brutally beats her and breaks her arm. 1 year passes like this. We then see Sarah pregnant. She goes into labor, and a baby girl is born. Even seeing Sarah's daughter, Don is not happy. 4 years pass. Sarah's mother misses her greatly. Sarah becomes pregnant again. Don tells his wife he got a promotion. Sarah's mother demands, "We must hire an investigator to find Sarah." Don completely refuses and leaves. The mother and daughter are happy watching the TV Don brought. What better way to relieve boredom? A few days later, Sarah gives birth to a baby boy. One day, Sarah's daughter develops a fever and becomes ill. Don brings her medicine. Even then Don and Sarah argue. Christopher visits Sarah's house again looking for her. He meets Sarah's sister there. Christopher tells Sarah's sister everything Don had said, that Sarah had run away with a childhood friend. Sarah's sister says, "I think Dad is hiding Sarah somewhere." She also admits, "Sometimes I also think Sarah went away on her own, away from us." Sarah becomes pregnant for the 3rd time. Don and his wife argue over Sarah. Sarah's sister tells Don, "You were always angry with Sarah." Distressed by this, the mother leaves. Don follows to console his wife. As he leaves, the basement keys fall from his pocket. Sarah's sister takes the keys and goes to check the basement. She sees various items there and wonders why they are there. Just then, Don arrives and sends Sarah's sister away. Later, Sarah gives birth to her 3rd child, a baby boy. Sarah asks Don, "You must take this 3rd child of mine outside," meaning take him to my mother and hand him over. Hearing this, Don gets an idea. He secretly takes the child outside the house and leaves him. Hearing the baby cry, Sarah's mother comes out. She also finds a note with the child, which read, "Mom, it's me, Sarah. This is my child. I cannot afford to raise him, so you must raise him." Sarah's mother happily embraces the child and adopts him. Don then finds another note, which reads, "Daddy has locked me in the basement." Seeing this, Don becomes angry and once again assaults Sarah to punish her. The scene then shifts to many years later. Sarah's son and daughter are now grown up. One day, Don looks at Sarah's daughter with very bad intentions. Sarah understands Don's wicked motives. She realizes that Don's filthy gaze is now on her daughter. Sarah was very worried because her daughter has asthma. One day, Sarah notices water leaking from the ceiling. Sarah thinks there might be a rough surface there, which she could break to ask for help. Sarah makes a hole there. At night, she shines a light outside through the hole. A man sees the light. Unfortunately, he informs Don, telling him, "There is light coming from a hole in your basement." Hearing this, Don becomes extremely angry with Sarah. He goes and brutally beats Sarah. He beats her so severely that Sarah miscarries. Sarah's child dies, and Don takes the dead child away and buries him. Sarah's children are saddened by this incident. Sarah asks Don about the son she left with her mother. Don says he is going to play a tournament next month. Sarah's son asks, "I also want to go outside to play. When will we go out? When will we go out and play?" Don replies, "If your mother behaves nicely with me, I will take you out of here. Then you can also go out and play." Sarah apologizes to Don for the children talking about going out. After he leaves, the children get angry and ask, "We didn't say anything wrong, why did you apologize to him?" Sarah replies, "That was just to protect you." Sarah was very sad. She missed Christopher a lot. Before she came here, she had spent good time with him. The children apologize to Sarah for behaving badly. Sarah honestly tells the children about Don's true nature. The children are shocked to hear this. They are so frightened that Sarah's daughter has an asthma attack. Don gets extremely angry with Sarah for telling the truth. So he starts to hit Sarah. But Sarah's son stops Don from doing it. As punishment, Don goes out and turns off the lights in the basement. A few days later, Don loses his job. Due to this, his savings are dwindling. Don's wife asks him, "Where are you spending your savings?" At this time, Sarah had broken the ventilation. Don receives a notice from the bank to vacate the house, because he had not repaid the money taken as insurance. Realizing that this system can no longer continue, Don decides to kill Sarah and the children. He sends car fumes into the room through the ventilation. But just then, the son Sarah entrusted to her mother arrives there. So Don has to turn off the car. Many years later, Sarah's daughter has another asthma attack. Sarah tells Don, "I need to take my daughter to the doctor." Don completely refuses. However, Sarah pleads with him repeatedly for this. Seeing Sarah's daughter's condition, Don agrees. Don only takes Sarah and her daughter along, telling the son to stay in the basement. When Sarah emerged from the basement, seeing her own house brought back all her old memories. Sarah's daughter is taken to the hospital. The doctors struggled greatly to save her life. There, a lady doctor asks Sarah to fill out a form. Since Sarah did not want to go back to that life, she spills water on the form. While Don goes to get another form, Sarah seizes the opportunity and goes to the lady doctor. Sarah hugs the doctor. Just then, Don comes up behind. Sarah tells the lady doctor, "Please help me." The doctor realizes Sarah is in trouble. Luckily for Sarah, there was a police officer nearby. He apprehends Don. There, Don reveals everything and confesses all the cruel acts he committed. Sarah's son is also brought out of the basement. Seeing this, Sarah's mother is overwhelmed and shocked. After this, Don is imprisoned. Sarah and the children are very happy to return to her mother and sister. Later, Christopher comes to see Sarah. He was still unmarried. Sarah and Christopher go for a long drive. The film ends as they drive away.